Innsbruck in Austria, the World Championships for men's skeleton about to get underway at this historic Olympic venue. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever ungodly time of the day you are across the globe. Thank you for joining us, Martin Haven and John Morgan at IBSF Announcer. You can email us or text us or send in your tweets, and we will tell you all you need to know about this year's World Championships. And John, the track here going to be very entertaining and produces close racing.
It's the shortest track that we compete on tour, built in '76, the first artificially combined track for an Olympic Games competition. And Tretyakov, the Russian rocket, has the track record at the start, as he does almost every place that he competes. Up here, curve 1, 2, this Omega curve, you have to be so quiet on your sled. The exit into 3, this might be the most pivotal part of the track. In here, any kind of variance altering your speed, you will have a deficient time at the bottom. Still slow up here, 4, 5, 6. This sets you up for the first Kreisel they ever built. You know, they enter and you exit going in underneath where you enter. And boy, you gotta hit that with a slingshot effect. 8, then 9. Pivotal part of the track for the bottom, because here, no mistake allowed. Acceleration point down into 10. Now a 3-corner combination called the labyrinth. Every track's got to have one. And down here, 72 miles an hour with your chin inches off the ice. You exit, finish curve 14, uphill. And then one of the bigger challenges for the athletes is stop. They're going so fast, they're going to throw rubber mats out here to stop them. And we'll see some entertaining ways that they stop the sled.
34 athletes from 19 nations competing in the men's skeleton world championship. We will have 4 runs, all of which will count, and into the final heat only the fastest 20 will go through as they battle for the medals. Well, it is a starters track. There's a man who will be right up among the very fastest starters, Nikita Tregibov, but it looks as though it may boil down to well, a 3-way fight maybe between the Russian rocket Alexander Tretyakov, the Olympic champion, Martin Stukur's the reigning world champion. There's his brother Thomas, who could well be in the mix as well. And Sunbin of Korea, there's Tretyakov. Now, none of them have shown their cards in training, John, but we know that they're all lightning quick.
I like with the 3 you just brought up, and with Thomas Stukur's on the outside looking in. Barrett Martineau from Canada. Axel Young, don't count him out.
No.
He was good in training, but this guy here, if he gets off that start, 4 or 500s better than anybody, watch out. And look at the crowd coming in.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that we see is if somebody gets away, catching them is going to be really tough. Martins and Thomas Dukus, Sunbin Yun, Axel Young, and you can see they are going nice and early in the run. So too Alexander Tretyakov, who goes away 5th. Now, one little wrinkle now, you can hear in the background, all the athletes have been asked to choose walk-on music for themselves. Expect to hear a lot of AC/DC going on, I think, today. Well, you can already hear it for Thomas Dukus.
Interesting, too, for the draw. The athletes were allowed to draw. According to the World Cup standings, they could go where they wanted to go. Martin Stukur's the leader, drew 2. And so his brother turned around at 4. He drew number 1.
So Thomas Dukus gets us underway. Let's see what the first stars of the competition will be like. 4:99, the track record 4:72.
Well, the speed they're going to pop up here on the left. There, keep track of that. That to me is the most important relevancy to how they got around those first couple curves, because you could have a great start, hop on that sled wrong, skid in curve 1, and lose it all right there.
Through the Kreisel turn, it corkscrews, and you exit underneath where you came in.
This is a tall man, one of the tallest guys in the competition. Man has been coming on the last 3 weeks, has had a pretty good, put himself in the top 3 with 2 silver medals the last 2 weeks out in St. Moritz and in
Whistler. Last year's Worlds in Winterberg, another big starters track, 52.90, track record 52.30.
Now watch the way they stop here.
Or don't. Yeah, use a lot
he's
of the
smart.
wall.
He's smart. He stayed right down on his sled. Some of the athletes panic a little bit and they'll roll off their sleds. When I find that'll generate some black and blues.
You know, one of the big news, take a look at the replay.
Labyrinth's speed, 73 miles an hour. This is 12 to 13. There's the take on really smooth into the bottom part of the track, as expected. European Championship last week, tied to the 100th of a second with his brother.
Yep, and here is his brother, Martin Stukurz, the fastest man on ice in Latvia.
Fastest man on ice in the world.
Pretty much anywhere else. Heading towards his 7th consecutive World Cup Crystal Globe title. The reigning world champion.
I got to believe he's going to get away in a 94 or 95 here or better. He's going to need it to challenge the Russian Rocket.
Oh,
87.
Goodness.
Well, I think he might have had some advice from someone else called his coach. And Tretyakhov's going to start in the low 80s. You better not let him get away. And we saw the women's bobsled race. And your Schneiderheinz at the fastest start. She won the event. In the two-man bobsled race, the guy with the fastest starts got second. And the guy with the second fastest starts got first. So the start on this track, all important. Boy, is he flying ahead of his brother. Wow. Wow. I mean, could we get a track record here?
We could well do. 53.20. He's nearly 6/10 in front of his brother, who's 52.90.
He's got a
very close.
There it is.
52.14.
How could you lower it down
16 hundredths of a second? Well, we saw the track record broken by Tretyakov. The new track record was set in the team race last weekend on Sunday afternoon. Bang! Second slide of the men's skeleton competition. Martins knows this is all about business.
Look how low he is. Look how low he is. Now watch his arm. Now he's going to be like a sprinter. He's going to be reaching through the air. Doesn't come up as much with the arm as we'll see some other people.
He doesn't sprint like a sprinter. He sprints like a wild animal. His front hand is almost pawing at the ice.
He sprints like he's a skeleton athlete.
Yeah. He sprints like he's a leopard.
Here comes the Iron Man.
Well, here's another massive starting man. Korea's Sun Bin-yun won the last race of the World Cup before the World Championships. Won in Samaritz, his first ever victory, one that he's been threatening for 2 seasons.
First ever for Korea.
Yep.
First ever for Asia.
Look at the
quads. Now watch out. This could be in the 80s. Ooh, he looked like he didn't get on there. Should be in the 80s, low 90s.
Yeah, very easy to see him off 4.90. So only 300s behind Stukurz at the start.
And he's got a different body mass than the two Stukurz brothers who look like, you know, 800-meter runners. They got the square shoulders. This guy is thick, and he's got a lot of body mass.
You could see him on a 100-meter start line, couldn't we, without any question. He's just this huge, muscular spring.
He's 1500s, 20s. He's losing time all the way down the track. Stukurz did some kind of a magical Superman act up there at the top of the track.
Well, now, the other thing is that Martins has been signing his track for over a decade. Yun is only in his second year on European track, so he's at a knowledge deficit, and it shows.
Yeah, 4,300s back. Well, we're going to find out real quick if anybody's going to challenge Martin Stukurz. Coming up next.
Now listen, we've got world champion Lizzie Arnold here. She's not competing in the women's race, but she will be in the commentary booth. She fancies Kilian von Schreinitz as well. He's a real left field choice, the young German.
Okay, now watch this. This is power. Look at his hands, like a sprinter. Come all the way back. Use your momentum to bring you forward. It's great technique, but there's down on the bottom part of the track. He was fast down here, but he lost a lot of time to Stukurz up before Kreisel. Maybe this is the reason why, that drift there on the entrance into Kreisel.
Late off the Kreisel as well, who's on the wrong side of the track, had to work a bit too hard. Shakes his head, he knows there were mistakes there. That's Korean flags. Next up, Germany's Axel Jung. What's he chosen?
Yeah, don't count this guy out. He gets starts. I mean, he's been impressive this year in the start. I mean, the World Cup standings, he's in 4th. He's got 2 podiums. 8th and 9th, the last 2 races, though, moved him from 3rd place to 4th place in the standings.
92, that's a great start.
Great start. I mean, this is a young athlete.
24 years old, already a world champion gold medal winner this week because he won on Sunday in the team competition. So he's already got a world championship gold medal from the weekend. He hasn't even started his main task.
Well, at 13 down, if he keeps it under 20, yeah, that's good. I mean, this is challenging now for, I mean, Ducars has just launched himself into another time zone. And these guys now are like positioning themselves for podiums.
This line.
He's in third at the moment. 28. Oh, he just got crushed from the exit of 9-10 down into the Labyrinth.
Working too hard in the Kreisel, perhaps.
Third, still decent. Boy, but he was 2800s, then it's 6400s. So that's exit of 9, 10, and that first clock that comes up before the Labyrinth. But still, you know, top three. This is, you know, what we expected, but he's 64 hundredths away from Ducars. Ducars is like he's an alien. Look at comes out. I think he's on the wrong side of the Kreisel. There's a good next curve into 8. That was good on that exit. But, you know, we're criticizing him. He's in the top 3.
For the moment. Next up is the Russian rocket, your Olympic champion in men's skeleton. Willi Schneider holding the sled. Schneider not going in the Legends race later on today. He has other fish to fry. Schneider has spent the whole year with these athletes testing the sleds for this track.
What's he going to post? 475.
300s off the track record that he set the other night.
Now, this is game on right here. But I didn't like that loop he just had in 2, the first part of 2. 12, 14, he should have been farther out than that. Now, this is going to stay at 14. He won't be there. There's gone. He made a mistake up at curve 2. And there's a big mistake there.
Same as Yun, but an even higher curve rate.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, off the Kreisel and getting it all wrong.
And we'll skid there, too.
9 to 10 going.
It's all going in the wrong direction. 17. It should be enough to hang on to second.
Yun is 43 hundredths back.
35.
35, that's a much bigger gap than you'd expect. He started 12 hundredths faster. He should be 36 hundredths in front, not 36 hundredths behind.
But he made mistakes all the way down the track. I saw 3 of them. Curve 2. The start, I mean, this is nobody does what he does. The Russian rocket. Look at the technique. Bang is 300ths from his own track record. But down here on the exit of Kreisel, he made a mistake up in curve 2 also. The wrong side, taps the wall. Then you see his foot come out a little bit. Adjustments into 8. 3,500's back. That's a lot in the first run. Up 4.
Wow. Martis Ducors, the race leader. Big margin over what might be his prime rival, Alexander Tretyakov. Next up for Great Britain, 6 of our starters. Dom Parsons, a man from London who now lives and works at University of Bath.
Engineer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Great British technique. I mean, the British are all so well schooled and disciplined at the start. 5:06. He's going to really struggle to match anybody's time in the bottom.
He needs to be perfect all the way down this track, starting 1900 slower than Martis Ducors.
One of the taller guys. He's a little bit like Thomas Ducors, a little bit like Matt Antoine.
4100s back. Now, this is going to seem like a lifetime, but bear in mind that first to second is 35 hundredths of a second.
On a short 1,200-meter track, 12:20, shocks me that Ducars is that far out front in the first run.
Long skid, 9 to 10. Sponsored by the Bromley Tech Group. Richard Bromley here, Kristen Bromley, his brother, of course. Man Bobsleigh for Great Britain. Many years, 53.12 leaves him in 6th position.
Good stop, but he got buried at the start. 6th best start, 6th best down time. He was 1900ths down to Tretyakov, or to Ducars at the start. That's 60 hundredths at the bottom. Tall man, look at his arm come way up. Watch it come way up. It almost goes in reverse. This is a sprinter technique. Look at his fingers. I'm sure even his technique, they tell him to put your one finger back up in the air like that. And down
the
here,
pinky finger, that's just a bit of British class.
A little skidding. Dom, always smiling.
Starting number 7,
Matt Antoine, the Olympic bronze medalist in Sochi 2014. Struggling with the thing that you need to struggle least at this track. His start has gone away since last year.
Yeah, he's vowed to get it back. He was the 3rd best starter in the Olympic Games. Look at him pull his arms. Another tall guy.
Nice load. Look at that, like a feather onto the sled.
Look at the start. He's now 4/10 behind Dukars. Just went up and down there. 4/10 behind Dukars. So that means he's going to be over a second at the bottom. If he's lucky. If he does well, he's under a second.
Currently lying in 7th place on the split times behind Don Parsons.
This will be 73. Now he's semi-stopped the bleeding. It's down to just a Band-Aid cut.
Little skid 9 to 10. That seems to be happening to a lot of people.
Now he's got good lines and he's doing well. He's got good speed and he could keep this under a second.
Frosty morning this morning on the track. It was very warm yesterday afternoon in training, very humid. I think the track is probably feeling a lot, it sounds bizarre to say this about ice, a lot more slippery than it did yesterday.
Well, it was down by 2,600 at the start. Should be, so that's 3/4 of a second. Watch him start now. Watch him cross over with the hands.
Watch the
power
load.
step. Oh, that right knee goes on first. Now watch the backside of this. Watch the sled. When his right knee comes on the sled, watch it alter. See that? I don't understand that technique, but a lot of guys use it where their right or left knee goes on the sled first. The people who really get on quietly with their body all at once, all one motion, I think are the most successful.
Here's a young man who could upset the apple cart. Nikita Tregibov, another electrifying starter for Russia.
Look at his leg turn over, drive. Look how quickly his feet are on the ice. Boy, he did not take many steps.
He's got that explosive speed, 493.
Boy, look at the body lean on the exit of curve 1. Question that. Look at that skin.
Did the Youth Olympic qualifying races for the Youth Olympic Games here for 2012 as an Armenian athlete and then transferred to the Russian program.
This is the Russian missile. We call him junior world champion last year and this year again.
Yeah, double junior world champion.
And he doesn't run as good as Trechikov. Doesn't slide as good as him yet, but has showed great promise this season.
Well, he's only 21. He's a double junior world champion. He can compete in junior worlds until he's 26.
That's not fair.
He could rack up 6
straight.
He could rack up 6 straight junior worlds if he could be bothered.
5th. But Thomas Dukar's back.
That's 600s ahead of Thomas Dukars.
5th best start, 5th best finish.
Yeah. 21 years old. He's the man in the Russian program that Tretyakov says makes him
Look at
feel
his feet.
old.
I mean, he barely gets his toes above. And in curve 1, remember I talked about the body lean in curve 1? Well, I think it was a big mistake. Watch his body lean around here. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
That's
got
too much.
Very
and then he
late,
crosses over right to left. Then he's got a lot of pressure on 2. I think he lost a lot of time there.
He got in very late off that left-hand groove. Didn't steer at all early. Lots of Latvians here. Very enthusiastic Russian fan as well. Yeah. Next up, Germany's Mikhail Zakrau. Rookie in the World Cup this season, Zakrau. Never without this huge grin of his. Just 21 years old as well.
Germans have gone young themselves.
Now, the last German to win a World Championship medal, I think, was probably Frank Rommel. Retired a couple of seasons ago. 5.06 start. That's the same as Don Parsons of Great Britain, who currently is in 7th spot.
He lives in Oberhof. Great sliding track.
There's another man whose mum was probably quite relieved that he gave up ski jumping for something a little less dodgy, like sliding down an ice canal. 4900's back, 7th place again. Really left coming off the Kreisel, which just seems to be grabbing everybody today.
Like many of the German athletes in the program, he's a policeman.
8-10's back, 7th spot ahead of Don Parsons. Long skid there.
Had some issues in 14, 13.
And down to 8th place, 103. That's 100th in front of Matt Antoine. So Michael Zachrau for Germany. And his position in the top 10 draw shows that he's in the top 10 in the world in his rookie season.
Exit of Kreisel supposed to be a slingshot effect down in the middle. He's down that one side and then enter. That's pretty good right there. And I guess everybody thinks that coming down that right-hand side for us, left for them, is the optimum speed line.
Bit of a fan club there for Michael Zachrau. And 10th of our starters is Dave Grecheshin of Canada, the man they call Grizz because it's easier to pronounce, 36-year-old teacher and rugby player.
World traveler. And the biggest guy in the competition, and being the biggest guy in the competition, he's also the nicest guy in the competition.
In a field of nice guys, that's quite some accolade.
He's the only guy in the field looks like a bobsled, right?
Yeah.
He's the only guy who looks like he could be on the bobsled team. All the others, skeleton athletes, are thinner, except for the Korean Sun Bin Young. He's got a little bobsled physique too.
5:11 start, 9th fastest. He's 9th at the moment, again ahead of the USA's Matt Antoine. A little less to the left coming off the Kreisel than everybody else, but they're all obviously using a steer that worked yesterday, and there was a bit more grip on the track and doesn't seem to be working quite the same way today. Little skiddy 9 to 10.
Late there.
Top spot at the moment.
He gets this big body moving on the bottom part of these tracks. At 10, boy, he lost 1500ths, and I think he was late on 13.
9 to 10, little skiddy, and
yeah, he was like 90 hundredths down. He ended up 114 down, so he lost 2 tenths.
Like all the Canadians, stunning helmet artwork.
Watch the hands cross over. He'll leave his hands off totally. Watch, look at that. Now that's some confidence to do that. And look at him get his hips on first.
Yeah.
You know, I like that launch where your body comes down together on the sled and not rocket side to side.
And just look at the bear on that helmet as well.
Spectacular.
Nice work from Grizz. Martin Stukurz, 3,500s up after the first 10 of our sliders down in our field of 34. Next up, 11th fastest, 11th in the draw rather, Barrett Martineau, second year in the World Cup for this, another former ski jumper. And in fact, he was a 4 jumper in the Vancouver Games back in 2010.
He's improved all year.
Again, huge leg turnover. And another great grizzly bear for Barrett Martineau, 5.06. It's the third 5.06 starter, Michael Zachrau, Don Parsons.
He had an 8th in Park City, he had an 8th in Whistler, 15th in St. Moritz last week out. Boy, he had some problems in the exit of 4 there.
Working with the toes, head, shoulders, knees and toes. You move the body around to steer the sled.
Definitely been a moving year for him. He's definitely improved. Up at 11th in World Cup points.
Pulling it away there from the left-hand wall. You can see the shoulder working hard.
Excuse me, he's 9th in World Cup points. So top 10. Last year he was in the 15th to 20th, struggling to make some of the cuts. Ooh, that's late. Just like his teammate late there.
Again, yesterday it was cloudy, it was damp. There's much more stick to the ice when it's in those kind of conditions than there is this morning.
Well, curve 11, 12, and 13, he was late, and the sound is so good from our TV truck that the sound goes away because he's late. He's almost airborne on the exits.
So Barrett Martineau behind teammate Dave Grecheshin.
Like right here, watch to see if the sled's air at all. See that little bit of air right there?
Yeah.
And that's late. And then the next one, he's later. More air, and then he, you know, and of course your chin is 74 miles an hour, your chin inches off the ice, no problem. Here's the guy that's made some improvements.
Italy's Mattia Gaspari. It's been a big year for the 22-year-old from Cortina, and he was bronze in the Junior World Championships last year. This is his second Senior Worlds. He was in 21st place, missed the final round cut last year in Winterberg.
He won't do that this year. Okay, so this is a work-in-progress athlete here for the Italians. As you said, he missed the cut last year at the World Championships, last event of the year. Then he came out this year. Okay, we expected about the same, except that he goes 16th in Altenburg, 15th in Winterberg, 10th in Königssee, 8th in Lake Placid, 9th in Park City. He missed the Whistler event because I think he came back training for the Junior Worlds, and then he was 14th in St. Moritz. So overall, every race he's been coming out, he's been getting better.
Rocks down the left-hand wall, out of the Kreisel into turn 8. 9 to 10, just getting a little down into turn 10, and that'll put him late into this lower labyrinth. 11, 12, 13, not too bad. And then the final corner, 14, that big pressure at the end.
Ooh, did beat
11 spot ahead of Mark
Boy, I've noticed it there. Everybody's losing 20 hundredths, 25 hundredths to our leader, Dukars, in the last 40, 50 meters on the track.
Track goes away fast as well. The first 3 or 4 athletes always get fresh ice, and it holds up for them. But beyond them, when you're down outside the top 10, the ice is getting a little slower every sled.
Well, see, he doesn't leave his hands off the sled like some athletes. Nice entry, almost goes with his hips and chest first. Now look at the eyes. Hey,
looking for the line.
A little extreme sport coming down the next 45 seconds for me, and looks like he's looking forward to it. Yeah. Great pictures.
They always say in motor racing, the car follows the eyes. Same with the sled here. So, Pavel Kulikov is the third of our Russians now. Kulikov, an occasional World Cup starter, made his debut in Sochi last year. A little stumble there away from the block.
And a funny angle, the way he was pushing that sled.
Oh, good
start, though.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, look how high he was in one right there, too, there. He went up way up high. That's uncalled for. Speed only. Speed wasn't bad.
This is the end of his 4th season of sliding, so he's a decade behind Alexander Tretiakov, his teammate, in terms of experience.
Well, at this pace, clean line, he could stay in the top 10 the rest of the way down. Of course, with that start time, he had the 6th best start. When you got the 6th best start on this track, you should have at least the 6th best down time. And he's fallen out of the top 10 already.
A little bit of a ragged run for Kulikov.
11th.
He's been ahead of the last couple of guys who've come down. Mattia Gaspari and Barrett Martineau, just behind Dave Kress-Cheshire of Canada by 0.06 of a second.
The top 5 starters in the field are in the top 5 positions. Yeah. What's that tell you?
Yeah, well, we know it is a starter's track. It's possible, if not easy, to give stuff away. And Pavel there, he must rival Mikhail Zakharov as the biggest smile.
Watch how high he gets here. Look, see, he's got to steer down. Then he goes down low. Then he comes back up. Yeah. That's not the way you want to get around that first curve. You want to be so quiet around that first curve. Good pickup by our team in the truck.
Got so little speed there, you can't afford to ride high because you always sag down the track. So next up is Lizzie Arnold's dark horse, Kilian von Schleinitz, the youngster from Bavaria, just 22 years old, 9th in last year's World Championships in Winterberg, his first Worlds at the senior level. Junior World Champion 2014. He took the silver medal in the Junior Worlds at the end of January this year, 5:04. That's all part of the reason why he's as good as he is.
You know, his only appearance in the World Cup Tour this season was last week in Samaritz at the European Championships. He finished 6th. Best German finish.
His brother also slides luge, missed out on the World Championships in Bavaria this year by a few hundreds, didn't get the team selection. So Kilian, again, hard left out of the Kreisel.
Still pretty good though.
8th at the start, he's up to 7th place on sprint times. Lizzie Arnold can pick the talent, can't she?
I didn't even have him on my radar.
This could be a top 6 run from Kilian von Schleinitz, chasing down Martins Ducours.
That's awesome.
Wow, only 1200s behind Ducours in 8th position.
Well, if you think of it, he started 8th best start, 7th best finish, and he's the 14th man down the track. He'll have a chance in the second run to have some better ice to work with.
Yep.
We always say, watch the hand, look at the technique. You can tell when they move their fingers at the back and front here. You know, this is all technique and training. All those track coaches can all recognize that type of technique. Here's the slingshot on the exit of Kreisel. How'd he do? Ooh, a lot of body lean there. Doesn't look like the sled changed direction too much. Kilian, not bad.
27-year-old Kyle Brown from the USA, from Concord, New Hampshire. Started on ice in 2013. Background in ice hockey. Another great helmet livery.
Pretty good leg drive turnover, quick entry onto the sled, but he drifts quickly. Oh, see that drift? He got way out of whack coming out of the drive lines, and then had to steer away from the wall, and that consequently took him back to get on a take-on too quick of curve 2, and now he's going to be sentenced to a bad time on the bottom because of that.
Still in 8th position on the splits, drops to 9th, 4700s behind, off 8th fastest start. And again, really over to the left coming out of the Kreisel. I think only maybe Martins Ducours and Alexander Chichikov were off. Big skid, 9 to 10 again.
He's got his hands full.
Yes, he has. Trying to let the sled fly, leave it wild, and it's very well down in the lower labyrinth. Oh!
14th. Well, when you have the 8th best time and finish 14th,
Adds insult to injury. Well, the clatter was the sled's bumpers hitting the concrete at the side, but that's one to write off. Good starter, 5:01.
Now watch the problems here, though. Somehow maybe he runs too far. Then watch him drift to the right here. And then he hits that take on to curve 1 if they keep coming with this. See, he's going on the wrong side. Then he comes over here, or he's on the exit he hits.
Goes straight into the turn.
He drifted to the left, and then he had to steer back to the right. He missed the take on, hit the outlet, and that was worth 20 to 2500s. And if you look at his time, that would have moved him up 4 or 5 places.
Martins Ducours, our race leader. Nathan Crumpton from the USA, 30-year-old World Cup rookie, born in Nairobi, Kenya, has traveled the world in his search for his childhood ambition to become a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Have to deal with sliding on ice instead. 497, that's a great getaway as well.
Good athlete here. Says he's just got to get more experience on European tracks.
Yeah, first time in Europe at the senior level. And he said he chose the masochist sport when he was in college. He was a triple jumper, the worst of everything.
Ivy League guy, Princeton guy.
Nice lines. His feet high and spread apart. This is a very individual sport. You just slide the way that works for you. If it doesn't work for anybody else, that almost doesn't matter. Little hit off 11. He's late in 13.
He's going to be challenging his teammate, Matt Antoine, for the best American.
And he goes 11th place.
Right behind him by 400s. So he started 1600s better than Matt Antoine, only beat him by 4 at the bottom. Didn't make as many.
Your knowledge.
Yeah, there's many mistakes as Kyle Brown made.
And of course, Matt was off 7th, Nathan off 16th.
I think the USA's got something here. They got a good starter. Once he starts getting experience on these European tracks, like the exit of 10 into the labyrinths without skidding like that, that's worth a lot. And then he's late here, and then he's late in 12, he's late in 13, late at the finish.
Mit der Startnummer 17.
Everybody's going away from this first run of the men's skeleton competition, scratching their heads. The track very different in race day from how it was in the training days. Next up is Japan's Hiro Takahashi, 31-year-old, born in Miyagi in the North Island of Japan, but now, like all their other sliders, based at the '98 Winter Olympic venue of Nagano.
Very proficient. Look at his technique. I mean, the Japanese approach to the sport just like they do everything else. Very technically proficient. Start. He used to have a better start.
Well, he never looks like he's running that fast. He doesn't have that Billy Whiz leg turnover, but 5:09 is not bad.
From Nagano. Favorite movies? Jackie Chan movies. Baseball player. Listen for the scratching.
Just dragging.
Yeah, he's not having a very good start or drive down the track. He's going to be a 55 out, 1.55 or so. 71 even worse. I was hoping he'd only go 2,500s worse than Ducars in the bottom. He went 35. Boy, that's not. A couple years ago, he was top 10. Seems the rest of the field is just going by him. Technique. Okay, look at they spread the hands as they come forward. His hand is not going straight up and down. It's coming in towards his chest. It's pretty wild. And here we go. Which side of the straightaway is he coming down? He's coming more towards us. And then that means he's got to cross over to the take on. When you cross over an angle like that, that's more pressure. Pressure and friction. Friction is a loss of time at the bottom.
Richard Bromley holds the sled for Korea's Han-Sin Lee. Second of our Korean athletes, 27 years old. The Korean program really came alive after the 2010 games. That's when he started on the ice and spent most of his career up to the last couple of years in North America.
Yeah, his home track's more of a Calgary or a Park City or even Lake Placid. But a couple weeks from now, his home track's going to open in Grand Children. The bobsled skeleton community is eagerly awaiting the opening of that track and finding out what type of personality it's got. And with the Koreans winning gold medals in men's skeleton this season and in two-man bob, in fact, the two-man bob, the Koreans lead World Cup standings are probably going to win it.
Yep.
What a great boost for the sport of bobsled and skeleton as we enter the Asian market. With the Koreans on top of the leaderboard in one of the sports and the top three in the other. Ooh.
Yeah, always a tough ride in those crash mats. You never know where you're going to go.
Yeah, Sung Bin-Yuan is third in World Cup points in men's skeleton. Okay, he looks like he dives out of there. And he's going to be on the wrong side of the straightaway. Here, there's a couple taps. Not bad there, though.
See how hard it is to control these sleds at speed. They don't have a flat runner. It's like the bottom of a rocking chair. There's a tiny contact patch, width of your finger and maybe a couple of inches long.
Uh-oh.
Now then, bit of history behind this young man and his brother, John.
Yeah, his two hour brothers in the race today. 25 years ago today, to the day, their father won the gold medal in the World Championships here in Igls.
And the man who's laying the sled on the ice, Mickey Grunberger, took the bronze. Andy Smith, who's here coaching the British, took the silver. You saw his father yelling from the side of the track. as Alex Auer gets underway.
Not a bad start. He was pretty good in training. He's a little taller than his dad. The Austrians were the dominant country back at that time in skeleton, and this would be a great boost to the program for this kid to try and get into the top 10.
He's moved up to become Austria's #2 ahead of Raphael Meyer this season quite comfortably. Raphael's had a shocking time. Matthias Guggenberger, Austria's #1 for the last pretty much decade, had a really dizzy spell after the World Championship team race where he got the bronze medal for Austria, with Austria. And it turns out when he was in hospital, turns out he's got acute tonsillitis. So Guggenberger is not racing.
Yeah, he's healing. Our best to him. And the Austrians got a bronze medal in that team race.
Yes, they did. So he's got a World Championship bronze medal, but he can't compete in the men's singles competition. So Alex Auer steps up as Austria's #1 and goes 14th on his first run.
Hey, his first time in the World Championships. It's not bad. He's tall, much taller than his dad.
Yeah.
Much taller than his brother. Look at the technique. Look at his Mickey Grumbacher back there. Oh, pretty good athleticism onto the sled. I like that. Decent start. And he's been down this track a lot under his father's tutelage. You know, when you got a former world champion telling you what to do and it's your dad, that's got to be an advantage.
2.5 he was when he took his first slide from the top. All right, his dad was kneeling over him on the sled, but all the same, you know you're in the family business early. Next up, New Zealand's Rhys Thornberry, born in Perth in Western Australia. He now lives at RAF Bryce Norton in Oxfordshire. And I know that Rhys wants to say thanks to all his bosses at RAF Bryce for giving him the season on ice to really try and polish up his performance. It's made a big difference to how good a slider he is as well.
Well, first time we saw him was in Lake Placid, second half of the year. Didn't make the cut, 23rd. Then he went to Park City at 17th, his best ever finish. Next week, he went out to Whistler and finished 12th. We were all very impressed with his improvement. But then he went to St. Moritz, which is a different personality track, finished 25th. Didn't get a second run. But here, this could suit his style.
Long skid there. It's another rugby player's physique.
20th best start, so he hopes to at least match his finish with the start. And right now, he's in 20th. Tries maybe get to the 18th or 19th position. 20th, 176. He's only 500s from Takahashi. Now he's got to worry about, after 3 runs, they cut the field from 34 down to 20 for the final run. They go 20-1. But definitely an improved year for him. I'd like to see him use his arms a little bit more.
Yeah.
Look at that. See, everybody has a different persona for getting on that sled.
Well, again, you know, he's a team of 1, so he needs a bit more time and a bit more coaching.
Up there above 5, 4, 5, made a little mistake.
RAF roundel on the nose of his helmet. Rhys Thornberry lies in 20th place. Martin Stukur's at the top of the pile. That won't change as we go through the remainder of our first heat, unless there's somebody we've never heard of's got a jet rocket attached. Alexander Mutovin of Russia, 21st of 34 starters in this men's skeleton field. First time at the World Championships for this man who favorite movie series, the Terminator movies. Well, who doesn't love a bit of army?
Russians with 4 sleds in the competition, courtesy of them winning the Junior World Championships. You win the Junior World Championships, you get an extra sled in the Worlds. The Germans have used that to their advantage quite frequently.
Another great start in Mutovin, 5.06.
Great start. So it's that start, 5.06, 12th best start. He should come down to 12, 14, 15 and crunch. Right now he's at 14.
31 years old, still not really made the big time. He's started sliding back in 2002, and he's been a very occasional World Cup performer. In the last couple of seasons, the top 2 or 3 Russians have made a habit of staying in Europe and not doing North America. And that's where we get to see the guys like him and Anton Batuev. 18th place, so he's already outperformed his start draw, moves ahead of Hansen Lee, Hiro Takahashi and Rhys Thornberry.
And he's going to be right on the bubble. Should be a couple more sliders in here going to catch him. Okay, where does he come? Right side of our screen? No, left. So it means he's going to cross over here. When he went into 8, and then here, there's a little skidding going on. Little toe taps. Very easy track to get down, but the track is so technical, it demands precision at every spot on it.
Evan Neufeld of Canada made a couple of World Cup appearances this year. The 28-year-old has been racing at the second tier Intercontinental Cup. A man from Saskatchewan. His wife is here, I understand, this weekend. First time she's been at one of the European races.
Should be a good start here.
.505, that's
12th
decent.
best.
Yeah. It's a very decent getaway. And Evan,
listen to the music.
Yeah. Just the facts, man.
This is the athletes picking out the music for their run. Ooh, foot out.
Bit of Dwayne Eddy. Who doesn't like a bit of Dwayne Eddy? 6,600 back. He started 12th fastest, 19th place. Oh, and a little ding on the short wall. I think the training left him with more questions than answers.
He says he's never broken a finger or never broken any bone.
Yeah. I'm always fearful of mentioning
That's
that.
the wrong thing to say in your bio.
Don't give a commentator that information.
Commentator jinx, man.
Across the line, 22nd place. That's his start position.
12th best start. He's going to have some work to do. He's only 10 hundredths out of 20th, so very much in the mix for the opportunity.
One good trip, and he can find his way back in there. If you look at the underside of his sled is the map of Saskatchewan, the least populous province in Canada.
And this, watch his foot come out here. Tap, extra 3. That is.
Well, he's not dragging the toe there.
Right there he is. Right there he is.
He's swinging the hips, but
that was really costly. That was a lethal mistake on the bottom for him. Now got the skidding into 8. That's the exit of Kreisel into 8. Yeah, he knows.
Lots more questions than answers. Next up is Dave Swift from Great Britain.
This should be a good start.
Spends his time between Eastbourne on the south coast and Newton Abbot in Devon.
Quick turnover and drive here. They recruited him because, is it his father?
Father used to coach Team GB.
Big mistake he made right out of the
one getaway. Swift by name and swift by nature.
But he has a problem driving down the track, and he had a problem as he exited the start grooves.
Won the Europa Cup race in St. Moritz about 3 weeks ago. His first race win in a few years.
At the 4th best start, he's already up to 8th.
Yeah.
Before we're done here, he's going to have all he can do to get in the top 18.
Well, the rest of the weekend then is going to be recovering off that first run through corner 1.
Maybe he ran too far. Maybe a step too far. I don't know, because shouldn't have been that loose coming out of the grooves, or out of the drive lines.
15th place. 19th place. And Swifty comes across the line in 20th, 53.74 slide. There's Caleb Smith, former US slider, and Sommelier, who occasionally turns his hand to coaching still. He's been coaching the development program. Swifty knows that that first corner,
20 hundredths there, 2,500. So that would put him up 4 spots. Watch what happens. Does he run too far? Hands. Look at that athleticism onto the sled. That's pretty. I mean, we gave out points.
Is he settled? Yes. No, he was still wriggling and trying to get the perfect position as he popped out of the grooves. And
then this is where it's just lethal.
Willing
mistake.
it not to touch the wall there.
Yeah. Without that, he'd be up 12th or 14th. He'd be 2,500s better.
Switzerland's Marco Ruhr, 17th in last year's World Championships. Another former jumper. He was a high jumper. Got into the sport like so many do by accident. He met former Swiss slider Pascal Oswald in a gym they were both training in. Got talking, what is it that you do? Da-da-da-da-da. And he ended up in the Swiss skeleton program. Last year in Winterberg, his first ever World Championships. 11th fastest starter, down to 15th place by the Kreisel. The ice is not helping now, but nor is hitting the short wall.
He's a PhD student in climate sciences. He might tell us why it's been so warm here. Warm in St. Moritz last week.
I don't think anybody's explaining El Nino. They know what it is, they just don't know why it is. Cross the line, 19th place.
Not bad, not bad. That puts Swift. There's a tie there. No, must be a tie. 19th.
No, he's 800. He's tied with Hansen.
Yeah, there's a tie for 19th place with the Korean Lee, yeah. And we still got a lot of action left. So now it's the race to qualify, you know, it's to position yourself to qualify. Ooh, not a very good exit. And then, of course, he's struggling into 8 feet apart. Doesn't seem too confident on the sled here. This is not how you do it. But he's positioned to have a 4th run.
Spain's Ander Mirambel up next. Another former Austrian world champion, Martin Rettel, is his coach.
Martin Rettel, also the silver medalist at the 2002 Games. And Skeleton made its comeback into the Olympic program. Air traffic controller here in Innsbruck.
Yep. 25th at the start on a 5:24 getaway for the Spaniard.
Well, he's going to need to be perfect. If there's anybody you root for, it's Ander Mirambel.
Yeah. Trains with the Espanyol Soccer Club in Barcelona. And works for the Spanish FA nowadays. His summer job is taking teams around Europe when they go on foreign competitions. He's their fixer.
Just not gaining any spot. 25th from the start.
25th
all the way down.
24th. Just picks him by 200s.
By 200. But he's not 2700ths out of the top 20 spot.
Well, we've seen how much vagueness and variety there can be in the line on this ice today. Ander Mirambel, there's Sarah Lavrancic, coaching and physio.
2 hands pushing off the block, and then let's see his hands aren't going straight out like you see the people pull through the air. His hands are, I would say, these pictures tell us so much. These high-speed stunt shots.
Let's go. Okay,
that exemplifies his personality. Right
Next
there.
up is Switzerland's Ronald Odderset, 26-year-old mechanical engineering student, 2nd World Cup season.
Boy, there's a lot of smart kids.
Yeah, there's a lot of graduates
and chemical engineers
and university students. Not sure how they're sending in their papers while they're away sliding, but I'm sure they're doing well. 5:01 getaway.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. His sprinting has definitely been working hard on that this last 12 months.
Start, so he should come down here in 15th or something if he does everything right.
Showing good form. 16th position at the Kreisel. Let's see how the track holds up. Not a bad exit out of 7.
Yeah, the track doesn't have a lot of left. He's right down in 19th, 20th place right now, too. So.
Long sideways skid out of 9 to 10. 19th spot at the moment. Track is definitely very skiddy. Everybody is, apart from Marcus Ducros, is later than they expect on these turns.
21st, so he's right on the bubble. 700s out of his teammate.
Tie for 19th.
Just saw his favorite athlete is Didier Kust, the great skier from Switzerland.
It's a good run from Ronald Odderset. Great start, and that puts him in with a big shot at a top 20.
Yeah, top 10 start. He should be down 12-14. Boy, he really left his hands up. But look at the athleticism on. We should give style points on for when they jump on the sled. We could get a whole set of judges in here and award them 10 extra hundredths. You think that would fly?
6.9 from the Russian judge.
You think that would fly?
Yeah, it might do. It might do. There's Ronald. And another great helmet livery here for Joe Cecchini.
Another
for
great
Italy.
helmet.
Yep. Cop from Calgary in Canada. His mother is the mayor of Fruitvale, British Columbia. I know Patricia even though it's 0100 or something back home, we'll be watching. 5:09, that's a good start for Joe as well.
He's definitely improved his start this season, and he's one of the bigger guys. He could pass as a bobsledder.
Started the season with a hamstring tear, so from there, it's only going to get better.
Came from a soccer and track background.
Slipping away from 20th spot at the start, 24th, 25th. Oh, and that was a very late exit, the latest we've seen off turn 9.
That's going to cost him an eternity of time. Oh, it's late there, airborne there. He's got 2 more heats to pick it up. He's going to have to be perfect in those heats because that type of run's not going to put him in the position to qualify.
Second World Championships for Cecchini. He was in 26th spot at the end of 3 heats in Winterberg last year.
Not happy.
No.
I wouldn't get too close to him. Down, up, then back up here in the outlet. You know, he just didn't have a good, look at that. You won't see too many sleds with air like that. And here's the other picture of it. That's the worst exit of 9 yet. I think he got all the way onto his shoulder there.
Yeah, he did. I mean, you hang on with your thumbs by your hips, hanging onto the sled, and that's the only reason they stayed connected. He gripped on.
Probably the worst run he's had.
Yeah.
Here comes another hour.
Yeah, Florian, 21 years old, younger brother. And I'm afraid he does suffer from his brother winding him up mercilessly, as all younger brothers do. But what a great opportunity for him. 1 World Cup start to his name, and here he is as the 2nd Austrian in a home World Championships.
26th best start. He's going to really suffer here, but hey, he's a plumber by trade. That's interesting. He's the only guy we've seen so far. That's a plumber.
He's done 2 Junior World Championships. He finished 7th this year, and he, like Dieter Tregebov, could do another 5. But this is really the future for Austrian men's skeleton. The Auer brothers will be honing in on Matthias Kuggenberger.
They did a thing Monday in the Austrian schools. They had Janine Flock, they had Benny Mayer, they had 250 kids in one of the schools. I think every one of them's out here today.
I think they have.
You know, and the Austrians are trying to bring what they were in skeleton 10 years ago.
26 at the start. He is now up to 16th.
Good slide.
He will finish in 14th.
That's the best slide we've seen from the worst start time of anybody.
Yeah. Oh, and he's beaten his brother by 400ths of a second. Take that for trying to leave me behind.
He knows it.
The other day they were waiting. Florian was down behind his brother, and they were waiting for the truck, and his brother was trying to get the truck to go and leave him behind as he ran up.
His brother beat him by 1100ths at the start, and he beat his brother at the bottom by 400. So game on here. We got a little World Championship hour doodle.
Well, if you know where to find it, there is still some speed. There is fly. Do you know what? I think the biggest smile might only be from his father.
Yeah.
What a proud dad Christian Auer must be. So next up, Philip Molter started his skeleton career as a German. He's now sliding for the Czech Republic.
Interesting, he went to that school in Berchtesgaden.
Yes, there's quite a few alumni of a sports high school in Berchtesgaden. We'll see a couple of them in the women's race as well. Christopher School, so it's the first time we've met him. He's not made a World Cup start yet. And the deal is he got injured and dropped out of the German program. And by that stage it had moved on. His recovery brought him back to sliding. And he lives very close to the Czech border, has lots of Czech friends. And as a result, he's ended up sliding for Czech Republic. Nice exit from 9 to 10. 29th at the start, 29th place at the moment. Looking under control. I wonder if he's gone for a fairly conservative runner setup.
I think at this stage of their careers, they just use one set.
Yeah.
They aren't that good then. Hey, I got to use this one or that one. It's just which one gives me the most control and the best speed down the track. And eventually, when they start feeling more comfortable, they'll be able to go on and purchase runners from a Dukars or someone else.
Well, actually, one of the sliders we've got coming up says that he never changes his runners.
I believe that. I believe that in bobsledding too. I think there's such an black magic art. Now, you might say you're changing your runners and you aren't, just to put something else in somebody's head.
Well, Lizzie Arnold never changed her runner or her setup for 3 seasons, just so she could learn how the sled works. Nick Timmings holds the sled. Dean Timmings, his twin brother, slides the sled here for Australia.
His brother's hurt.
Yeah, recovering from problems, and in fact Dean was saying he is sponsored by his brother, who's got money left over in the family budget. Twin brothers, half Australian, went to school in Perth, Western Australia with the Honey Badger, Formula 1 driver Daniel Ricciardo. 5:21 getaway. 30th of our 34 sleds in this heat.
He's got to get his head down a little bit. I noticed again.
Again, not much experience of the European tracks, not much experience of many tracks for the Timmings brothers. His sled, incidentally, has got a history. It's a 2011 Bromley that was given to him by Michelle Steele.
Look at Michelle Steele, multiple World Cup medal winner. She's good sled. She's watching back home.
It's nice looking form from Dean.
Soccer and track and field background.
Yeah. Slips to 30th in the first heat. But at this stage, the brothers are still definitely in the really learning fast phase of the development curve.
It's just great to see some guys from down under. We need some more Australians. Australian females were really good at this sport when they had an organized program, had them out here. They're winning medals, top 6, top 7 consistently.
And then the NOC took all the funding away, and that kind of dried it all up. So Dean Timmings from Perth, Western Australia is down. Martins Ducours, our race leader. 30 of 34 sleds gone in the first of our 4 heats. For Israel, another new young slider. What a great looking helmet for AJ Edelman as well. From Boston, Massachusetts, went to MIT.
Okay, he's a hockey player, and he says, don't beat me up at my start. He says, I don't, hockey players aren't taught to run like sprinters.
Well, hockey goalie from the age of 3, he said the first time people saw him run, they said, what are you doing? And he's doing that hockey stride where you swing side to side.
Well, you can see he's inexperienced here, but the race very important to him. National Olympic Committee funding, and we have these athlete bioforms that you fill out, and they put in favorite food, favorite music, sport background, coach. You know what he put in as his coach?
Himself.
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Yeah.
I love that.
Watching all the videos.
Yeah. Head up.
Yeah.
Still gets a learning process, learning curve.
Absolutely.
But very focused on his sport. Coming down. Second year sliding. 3:45 off the pace. 55-59
slide. He'll get 3 heats in the World Championship.
His first World Championship. It's good to see Israel have a sled in here. Hope that their NOC gives him a little support, because he obviously is an athlete. Needs a little bit of sprint techniques, and so he says he doesn't know how to run because he's used to hockey where those feet go out as they skate.
Yeah, skating and running.
Then he dipped his shoulder. Now they're looking. Now there's style points. We aren't going to give him good style points for getting on the sled, but look at the helmet. The helmet's pretty cool too.
Nice run, AJ. First World Championships, first race at the senior level. Same too for this young man, Poland's Michał Jakobczyk. I'm going to mangle that once more and then we'll get it right. First time we've had a Polish male slider in men's skeleton for a long while. 5:08 getaway. Now, that is good. He's going to get in places.
He's a 100-meter sprinter who just used way more curve 3 than he needed, then he tapped on the exit of it. That's the learning curve we're talking about, but 100-meter sprinter showed that start time. 5:08's pretty good.
Just 20 years old.
Ooh!
Well, we've seen some of the most experienced athletes hit that wall. You see it's
not like that.
It's pulled his vest down as well. That's
going to hurt.
Yeah,
ooh, look at him up there in the roof. Oh, This is like a pinball shot.
He had a trip like this in training I was watching, and then everything got all tidied up. But again, the ice has changed dramatically since training, and he is finding it hard to recalibrate. You've got to learn from the first couple of corners how much you need to understeer the sled or oversteer the sled.
That had to hurt.
Yeah, no question.
Well, here's the first problem. He didn't get off the Chrysler curve in time, and then he had to dive out and then skid into 8. And, well, that's not a training film run, nor is this here. This is skidding down the track sideways, but that's what happens. It tells you. That's why Ducars makes this look so easy.
Yep.
Look how high he gets there. Ducars makes it look like it's a video game.
Yes, he does.
And this, when he comes down,
youngest competitor in the field, 16, turns 17 tomorrow.
look at his leg drive and turnover.
Yeah.
He had to rest, but he's pushing from an angle. He's pushing the sled from an angle, and he's out of the grooves. Oh,
well, he has had less than 70 slides ever, but he's been to this track 3 times. He did his driving course here. He's done a Europa Cup race here as well. But he started in November on ice, and he's in the World Championships.
yeah, very positive young man when he was in there talking to us yesterday.
I had no idea he was that young until I checked his date of birth.
He sent his bio information to us on a Google Doc forms, and his favorite movie, Skyfall. Well, he's fallen out of the sky here.
He won't have seen any movies released before the year 2000. He's too young. He was born this century.
He might be the youngest person we've ever done commentary on.
He wasn't born this century. He was born at the end of last century, wasn't he? Yeah. Wow.
32, well, still had a 1.
Yeah, 55-48. Well, you know, some of these really raw sliders who are in their first season or second season will be having their own personal battles towards the tail of the field, the same way the most experienced are at the top of the field. Nice looking run from Mihai.
First World Championships, youngest guy in the field.
First international race.
Got to give him some light. And the start. Now, watch the angle he's pushing at here. Look at his feet. He's pushing to the, almost on an angle, then he hops on and watch him get out of the grooves here. And he needs to tie down his bib in the back there.
The problem is, like his race suit, it would be skin tight on Dave Kreszczyshin, but he's so tiny.
And then here, watch this mistake.
Yeah.
It's not how you want to go through curve 1 and 2, but hey, 16 years old.
Yeah.
Birthday tomorrow.
Denis Lorencic, the final slider in this first heat for Slovenia. Another real newcomer, 27-year-old, works in the building industry.
Construction guy, yeah.
And again,
very proud. Oh, it tapped in.
He's done 1 World Cup race. He turned up in St. Moritz for the first time.
His full Olympic outfit it looked like on yesterday. I don't know where he got it from, but we said, no, you have to be in your speed suit. So he had to go back to his hotel and get his speed suit, but very proud.
I was talking to him in St. Moritz. I said, what sport did you do before skeleton? He said, I didn't do any sport before skeleton. I asked Elizabeth Vachi the same question, and she said, I didn't do any sport before skeleton. I started at 14. So, that is late. And he is down and through in a 56.34. And so he is in 34th place, rounds out our first of 4 heats in the Men's Skeleton World Championships here in Innsbruck in Austria. So it's Denis Lorencic, again at base camp as far as learning this sport, his first ever year of sliding.
Late, down on 12, 13. Got some action going on.
Das war der erste Lauf.
That was indeed, as the track announcer says, the first heat. There's Denis. Got to go and weigh himself and his sled. Now he's trying to rush. There's Sara Lovrencic, slides for Slovenia, having a year to earn some more money. She's working as a coach and a physio. And here's our race leader. The red vest is our world champion, the man from Sigulda in Latvia, Martins Dukors. Great start from him and a blinding track record run that nobody got close to. He's over a third of a second in front of even his very closest rival.
Well, you don't want him getting away from the field because he'll have a victory lap tomorrow, both heats. And Superman, as we call him. And he continues to amaze.
Martin Stuckels leads by 3,500. Alexander Tretyakov only 800s ahead of Sunbin Jung of Korea, so there's a massive battle for second there. Axel Jung, Nikita Tregobov, 600s apart. Lots of very close battles throughout the field. And 14th and 15th, Florian Auer beats his brother by 400s.
That'll be interesting.
How much is that going to aggravate Alex Auer? Fantastic. So, 34 sleds started. We've counted them out. We've counted them all in safely. And they will go 20 down to 1, and then the remaining 21 to 34 sleds in our second heat. That comes up at 1100 Central European time, 1000 Greenwich Mean Time. I don't even want to guess what time that is, Pacific, or if you're watching in Australia, wherever you are. Thank you for being with us. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the whole IBSF TV crew at 10 Greenwich Mean Time when we go back for heat number 2 of the Men's Skeleton World Championships.